Okay, go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 180. I am your host, Keith Andrew, the one and only Keith Andrew. Along here is a good friend, Tim Latreille. I just want to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, brother.
No, the honor's all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show's about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them labels don't dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them you can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. With that being said, half hour of your time, 33 minutes, half hour. And starting off, normal conversation, freedom of speech, self-expression, so it's uncensored, you can say whatever you like. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
What would you like to know about me?
Whatever
I
you
can tell
like to
you
share.
whatever you want. You want to know about what I do now as a living?
Sure.
Okay, so I own 2 restaurants. I own Bronx Boys in Monroe, New York, and then I own Giuseppe's of Brooklyn inside of Warwick, New York. One's a bar, pizzeria, and the other is a pizzeria. And I've been in the restaurant industry for about 10 years. And I started as as you would know, delivery driver, and then moved to manager, and then moved on to a different restaurant style, and I hated it. So then I went back and asked somebody if they wanted to be a partner, and they said yeah. So I started my own, and then we started our own again, and that's where we are now. But I'm thinking about other things in the future for definitely just not pizzerias and restaurants. So I would like to do a club bar besides that strictly, but it's harder and financially a lot harder than this.
Understandable. Now, who influenced you to start your career in the whole restaurant business?
Um, no one. It was just because I did go to school for graphic designs, and I hated it once I got to that level. I still, there's no money in it, so I decided to just stick with this because I was making more money. And then as I quit Big Mike's, I went to Chester Diner, and I managed a Chester Diner, and it was terrible.
Alright. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, let's see, before I just a bunch of them, but I'm trying to look for a good one. Now, what was the very first restaurant that you opened, and what made you decide to open the second one?
He has. I'm sorry, I'm just explaining. If you want to explain it again.
Yeah, what was the first one, what was your very first restaurant that you opened, and what made you open the second one?
Um, it was there and it was available, so they kind of just took it over, and I came in and I just decided to take a piece of it because the place was in really bad condition and they didn't really know what they were doing, and so I just did my thing. Just taught them how to do everything. There's also the guy Freddie from Big Mike's there, because that's where I used to work with. You know Big Mike's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I was for 10 years. And then Freddie taught me everything. And then we went over there, and we got that. And then Freddie actually had this place since, I want to say 2 years, 3 years now. But he didn't have any money to actually open it. So we literally had to rip this place apart, do it all over, get all the certifications. He can't talk to people because he's very energetic, let's say. So you can't, when someone normal has a conversation, they can keep their cool. This guy, very old school Italian. If you've ever seen, I don't know, Bronx Tales and all those old mafia movies where they speak like go fuck yourself and stuff like that. That's pretty much what he is, and how he deals with situations is it's not rational. It's more of just go screw yourself right off a cliff. Yeah. So that's where he is in life with that.
All right. About what made you open a second restaurant? Like when you got to the very first one, did he have? Were
Look,
you making the money, or was it? Did you just want to branch out on your own, or was it like a joint partnership? How did that all come about?
it's a joint partnership, and it is location is huge because it's on Main Street in Warwick, and that's pretty much where it is. So Warwick is a very popular town. It's a very different town where everybody's out all the time walking around, especially for New York because they're very shady people in New York. Very different atmosphere from most demographics of I don't know, say California or Florida. Everyone's different in their own little way, unique way. But Warwick has a very inviting tone. Everybody likes you, and such like that. The location is right on the main strip too, and we just decided to take it over because the place before it was huge. Taco Hombre was a huge, like, kind of like landmark for them. So we just went inside, and I was like, we got to get this. This has to happen. So it's been a long time coming, but
Well, I do have a couple ideas I'd like to talk to you about off the air.
Okay.
But the first question I was going to ask you is social media. Do you think social media can make you or break you? And especially being in a restaurant business, how do you think that dictates your career?
It depends what you say by social media. Do you mean like social media where you guys are the reviewers, or do you mean like social media like Facebook,
Well, everything.
Instagram?
What is your opinion?
My immediate opinion on Yelp is it's not a good thing. The algorithm that they picked out is not good. For some reason, they picked this algorithm that doesn't pick, how do I say, the general population. It just picks out, how do I say it? Like, say you say I got a 5-star review, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I got 10 of those, and then I got 3 1-star reviews. I don't know why, but it might pick the 3-star, 1-star reviews to put on the front page, and then bring down your median to maybe a 2.5-star. It's just because of their algorithms. They think they got it down. So now, when somebody searches that on their phone, what are they going to see? 2.5 stars with negative reviews. But there is this little button, if you want to look on the website, a little button that shows you you can now read not approved messages, which could be the positive ones. So therefore, this one app is destroying your restaurant almost because of a couple bad eggs, and their algorithm picked these instead of yours.
That's true. And now, what about? Are you like on? I know personally you're on Facebook, but is your companies on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Yeah,
and do you
yeah,
guys have
they're
a
all.
big following?
We don't do Instagram or Twitter. We're gonna have our DJ do it eventually, but we just haven't got to it yet because one of them isn't open and Bronx Boys is already established. We're on Facebook a lot for Bronx Boys. But we don't have a Twitter. We do have an Instagram though, but no one really updates on it. But Facebook, we really do. So that's really how we are with that. Giuseppe's is going to be a little bit different because it's a cleaner restaurant, like a cleaner style restaurant, more New York City vibe. So that's a little bit different.
That's I think that's the one I saw where you had the fancy tables and everything, and you had that's like it was a big open room with nice fed tables.
Yes, that's the one. That's where we clear it out too, and we have our DJ come in and do all of his things. It's very nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. And have you guys have like any banners or any commercials, or you haven't gone that far?
For Warwick, yeah, we have just because of people are very curious because they don't allow franchises or anything of that nature to come into the town. Everything has to be board approved. They have to say whether you can come in or not. It has to be family owned businesses and such. Like if you've ever noticed, you went inside and there's never McDonald's or Taco Bell's or anything like that. There is a Dunkin' Donuts and a BK, but that's because it's family owned within the town. That's the only reason why they allowed it. So I don't know.
All right. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, have you ever worked with people with learning disabilities, and would you be willing to work with people with learning disabilities?
In the restaurant industry, it's very
Well,
tough.
overall.
Uh, Me personally, I've never worked with anybody with a learning disability. I've lived with one. My brother has Asperger's disease, so I know how to, you know, deal with somebody with a learning disability. And you obviously know my brother too, and how they act and how they can be out of control sometimes. But it's all about patience and everything. It's whatever you're willing to. It doesn't really bother me, and it doesn't really, it depends on the person really. But if you're saying like a restaurant environment such as mine, it would be very very hard for that person, especially having someone like Freddie who doesn't understand. So it's pretty hard to say for my particular restaurant, because Freddie doesn't care about. I would say I'm the one who cares about employees. He doesn't really care. So, say if you were to get in the way or something, he might say things that might offend you or make you feel bad. Me personally, I would not. I would try to work with you and try to like make you a stronger person. But him personally, no. So it depends on the restaurant, depends on the person. But me personally, sure, why not? Absolutely.
Well, I don't think I ever met Freddie. I know I was at the time good friends with Joey.
Yeah, Joey is that's my brother. Joey's my brother. I'm saying for a restaurant environment, it's very stressful and it's a lot of work sometimes. And it's not kind of like a make or break you type thing, especially with serving. If it gets busy and you're serving or hostessing or something like that, you can get a little overwhelmed. It's a very stressful job. You got to deal with a lot of things. And adding someone like adding with someone like Freddie's energy level is very, very stressful too. So it's something that you have to put into mind. But even with McDonald's, McDonald's has a heavy time where you guys are where it's just like hectic. So you got to think like they're thinking for the company and stuff like that. So it really just depends on the company that you work for. If someone wants to work for it, work into it, sure. If you show promise, absolutely. But for a high volume restaurant like that, it could get very hectic. So it depends on the owners and everything, if they're willing to teach you and guide you to the right path.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about being patient. It's really hard to find people like that who's willing to be patient and help you out. Usually, my case, I worked at Toys R Us, and the guy was really nice, my boss. Not the store manager, he was a dick. But my manager was really nice, and he took the time to help me. But there was other times where I was like, over a sex, and the guy seemed to be nice, but he always be like one of those people who used to snap his fingers, and then he goes back saying, "Oh, I have a disability," but then there's other times he's like snapping his fingers. It's like you can't have it both ways. I'm not a dog. You don't have a disability, but you're also walking around, doing whatever. It's kind of like what you're doing.
It's like degrading almost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the person who teaches you. That's what it is.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, have you ever thought about doing live performances at your restaurants and doing autograph signings?
Have I ever thought about what?
Doing live performances and doing autograph signings.
No. Live performances we can't because of sound. The way the town works is if you do have a band, they can't play entirely too loud, and depends on what time of a night. And for a restaurant, because it's a restaurant, I wouldn't suggest signing. Maybe outside, but inside of the restaurant, we need to have. I can't have people in the hallways.
Yeah.
I can't have people in the way, because if it's generally because it's a safety hazard. Usually that's why they go to book signings and they're at bookstores, because if you do get a huge line of people, then there's still safety issues that can be addressed and you guys can get out safely and all that good stuff. So thinking from that aspect, I would not do it at mine just because it's a little bit, it's a good sized restaurant, but there's just not enough room for a signing. And for a live performance, you need to get permits and stuff. And I don't think it's really worth it because our vibe isn't really that. We're trying to do more city-ish vibe, which is, not really this country vibe where you have like everybody come in, you guys listen to rock music and all that stuff. We have all different Spanish music, hip hop, all that stuff. So we're going more towards that club vibe. And we're trying to steer away from like people coming in and like doing rock music. But I mean, you never know. We might be able to do it. We're thinking about it, because we're there for the town. So you got to think about what the town wants, not really what you want. So that's why when everybody comes in, I usually ask what they'd like to see or what they would suggest, almost, when they come in. And they've all pretty much said what we're doing is okay. So it really just depends on the person.
It's funny because I had an opportunity. I pretty much went over to the Monroe movie theater, and I said, what do you got? Because I also found out they were Studio 22, and they do like recordings on Channel 22 if you have Optima. And I said, would you guys be interested in working together, having me on the talk show, or create a talk show? And we came in, and the guy gave me this whole song and dance, gave me this whole spew and everything. And it's like, yeah, well, you have a good message, you have a good vibe, I like talking to you. Let's get into the talk show. He got annoyed that I made a promo on my own. It says, the Keith Andrew Network presents Sit Down with Keith Andrew on Channel 22. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, the higher-ups at Warwick got wind of it, and they said, yeah, we don't want to work with somebody like you.
That's what I'm saying. It's really, they said that. It depends if you guys were in contract and everything, because you still do need the consent of the channel, because when you do that, you represent the town pretty much. That's what they say, because you're representing Channel 22. Okay, yeah. Let's say that. So what if you go on a tangent about how Nazis are the fucking best thing ever? They don't know what you're gonna do, because it could be like a loose cannon type shit. You can pretty much say that like Donald Trump is the devil and Nazis will rise again and I love fucking robots in the butt. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna do, So that's what they're looking out for. I get what they're saying, but
I even explained to them the whole concept. I wanted to do like an actual show. It's an introduction. I would come out, like Bill Maher and Bill O'Reilly. You have an introduction, you do your dialogue, you invite the guest comes down the walkway, you shake the person's hand, and you talk, you take a break, whatever time's remaining, you pass it to the audience, and the audience can access whatever they want. And I don't know, that seemed like a good idea, and I was going to keep under PG, maybe PG-13, but mostly PG. And I don't know, they just got crazy because I made my own promo.
Yeah. I would really, just today's age, because it's different times, maybe do podcasting, or, like I said, these third-party websites such as Yahoo and Twitch, and just try to find like a time where you could and just talk to them, try to work with them, because you do have a good message behind yourself. I mean, that's a good way to push yourself, especially in today's age, because these people like, I don't know, like Jimmy Fallon, all them, they've already been huge stars, so it's a little bit different for them. You starting out, I would start somewhere else and start from the base, start doing podcasts, start doing that stuff. just to try to get your name out there, and then work your way up throughout the ladders that way.
Well, my goal is now that I'm up to 500, I'm actually got to start reaching out to media people and have them write about me and interview me.
Yeah, do it. Did you have 500? Do you have followers, or do you have like 500
Episodes.
people? Subs?
No, episodes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, do that though. You'll find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Now we're wrapping up our talk, so I have two subjects for you. Now we can wrap up. The first one is, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Stage 32?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I'm on everything. I just use my normal name, except for Twitter. Twitter's Cut Five Man, but everything else is usually my real name. So.
Okay. And when I last wrapping up on the show, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction, and what made you say yes about being a guest on the show?
Well, I remember you from high school. I remember you. I remember seeing you walk around and such. And you said, you had a really good cause for what you wanted to do. So I said, why not? You came out, you asked, very professional like. So I said, why not? You just asking me questions. It's not like I didn't know what you were gonna ask, but It
makes it more fun.
Yeah. You obviously have a drive to do something with yourself, so why not just give you it? Who am I to tell you no? And you're just asking me questions about what my basic life is.
Hey, you're supporting a good cause and making a new friend out of it. It's a win-win.
Exactly.
Now, wrapping up our interview. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Yeah, man, anytime you want to do it, just give me a heads up, all right?
All right.
I'm Lisa Berry.
Arlene Schofield.
My name is Shireen Snow.
My name is Carla A. Miles.
Diana Caputo.
This is Christine Dunford.
I'm me, Eden.
Caroline Macy. This is Walker Fannin.
Maria Camille Dixon.
I'm Miss Dates Wardam.
My name is Linda Presson, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
It's Russo.
Me, Mark Medley.
Hi everybody, this is Mark Neely.
Barry Pavick.
This is Peter Bruno.
My name is Kyle Collier.
This is Julio Santiago, better known as Dynamite.
I'm Richard Epcar.
Orange Chow.
This is Kerrigan Mahan.
This is Goldner.
And we both support
Keith Andrew.
My name is Ron Wasserman, and I am supporting Keith Andrew and what he is doing, and you better do the same, or I'm gonna come kick your ass.